Cecilia Denton, and I'm an industrial psychologist. I'm the owner of PTES Consulting. So we are psychometric assessment specialists, and included in the presentation today is emotional intelligence. So I just want to say thank you again to the HR Talk that arranges all of these webinars. They get the training together. It's their portal that we're using for the training. And so they're just very good at arranging all of this and getting everyone together to do this. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a recap. So before we're going to do a little test, we're gonna it's not a test, but I'm gonna give you examples of emotional intelligence, and I want you to score yourself. So before we get to that part, let's just recap famous personalities with high EQ. Okay, so this one may not surprise you. A lot of people talk about Leonardo DiCaprio and his role in society, in the world. So at just 24 years old, DiCaprio established the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation that was committed to promote environmental awareness, especially global warming. So he was quite young when he did that, which is actually quite unique. The foundation has worked in over 40 countries and has 2 short web documentaries to its credit. It's called The Water Planet and Global Warming. So in 2016, he met the Pope and spoke about environmental issues. So moved was the Pope that he agreed to act in a charity film, which is called Beyond the Sun, a record of sorts. So you may ask me, okay, but what does that mean? You know, just because he's done some charity stuff and he's made some movies or whatever, how does that make him emotionally intelligent? I think the fact that he's able to look further to his larger society, the fact that everything does not just resonate about him. Of course, a lot of people will question his dating life, which is such a source of gossip, but that, you know, it's his private life. It's got nothing to do with us. But if I can sketch a picture to you in terms of how this person approaches life, it is bigger than himself. He is thinking further than himself. He's not just thinking of his own fame, fortune, and what he can get. He's also looking further, and he's actually using his own resources to create awareness. So that does make him a little bit more emotionally aware than maybe other people. We get entangled in our own issues very, very quickly. So awareness. That is what EQ is all about. Let's look at Keanu Reeves. So not a slave to the dollar, Keanu Reeves is known to be very humble. So there's a lot of rumors. I've seen a lot of things online, you know, whether it's true or not. I mean, there's so many repeated things. I tend to believe some of it. So there have been multiple instances showing just how grounded he is. Read the news of him splitting his hefty paycheck with the film's makeup and special effects team, especially during The Matrix, the movie, or waiting in queue to get into his own party. Reeves is known to be a celebrity who's in touch with his emotional side. I don't know if I'll wait in a queue for my own party. But the thing is, I've read quite a bit on him in terms of being, close to home, in terms of being humble. And I would assume that also comes down to not just being aware of his own self, also thinking and considering other people. And then let's look at George Clooney. So not only is he famous for his coffee, which I'm absolutely addicted to, he just makes the brand. I drink the coffee because of him. But let's look further than that. So known not only for his stunningly good looks, Clooney is known to be a huge supporter of peace and anti-war movements. He has been outspoken about gay rights and support towards refugees. He is one of the primary associates of the 100 Lives Initiatives, a project that remembers lives lost during the Armenian genocide. Clooney also launched the Aurora Prize that awards those who risk their lives to prevent genocides and human atrocities. What I think is nice about some of these celebrities is the fact that they use their fame for something bigger and better as well. So that is very nice. The fact that they can actually reach out to other people and create an awareness. So once again, just awareness. And it also boils down to not just being selfish, because selfishness is a real pandemic that we've got at the moment. Selfishness is a self-preservation technique that we have. Unfortunately, it's an ugly thing. But what we can see in these guys is they're not just thinking about themselves. Okay, of course you knew that I was going to include Princess Diana. So arguably the most loved princess of her time, Diana showed great respect towards foreign cultures during her speeches. She wowed the world in 1989. That was when I was standard 6. What is that, grade 8 or something like that? When she visited the pediatric hospital of the Harlem Hospital, where she spontaneously hugged HIV positive children that led to the breaking of the global stereotype of illness. Once again, I can see a lot of selflessness there. Someone that does not only think about themselves. Okay, but let's do the test. This is what I was talking about. I want to do a self-evaluation with you. So whether you want to have a piece of paper handy with a pencil, or you can answer and score it in your head. But it is sometimes nice to just make a note on a piece of paper so that you can refer back to it. Once you get the notes on this, you can go through it again. But I don't want you to do a test and get a score so that you can tap yourself on the shoulder and say, I got a good score for this. I really want you to think about the question. And what does the question mean for you? And have you ever thought about that particular sentence, statement, or question in the past, and what does it mean for you? And would you relate that to EQ? Is this how you understand EQ? So let's look at what it is that we're going to look at. So what we will be discussing here is self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So Kenny said it actually takes in mind a few components. It's not just self-awareness. The second one is self-regulation, which means that you are regulating the thoughts that's going through your head and the emotions that you're experiencing. Motivation is an interesting one because very few people would link motivation to EQ. This is something that I had to get used to because I thought, but how does that factor in? And motivation is the ability to be aware of what it is that you want and where are you going. And then let's look at empathy. That is the one that probably most of us are aware of. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. That does not mean you feel sorry for people, but it is to put yourself in their shoes and create an understanding. And then there's social skills. This is when you reach out to other people. This would link quite a lot to the celebrities that I just shared with you just now, where reaching out, it goes further than just the self and being aware of the self. But let's look at the first component, self-awareness. So there's 3 statements here. Let's look at the first one. I can recognize my emotions as I experience them. So think of yourself. I want you to score yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. And be very, very honest with yourself. Some of them you may be good at, and some of them you may not be as good at. So when we say I can recognize my emotions as I experience them, in his book, his 1995 book, Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ, Goleman explained that people with high self-awareness are aware of the moods as they're having them. So I've practiced this quite a lot. I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. If you are experiencing moods or are frustrated or angry and you're not exactly sure how you got there, that means that you can trace your step backs and start to learn to get used to it. Start not used to it, become aware of it. And you can do that. You do that throughout the entire day. If your muscles tense up, think about, okay, what just caused this? What happened? And it can be as dramatic as a car accident, and it can be as simple as opening up an email that upset you a little bit. It can be very, very subtle. Don't think you have to go through a divorce or a car accident to experience something. It can be very, very subtle. It can be a WhatsApp message. It can be a phone call. It can be a piece of music that you heard. So be open to those concepts. Okay, the second statement here, I know my strengths and weaknesses. So to increase self-awareness, learn about mindfulness. This involves focusing on the present moment, including how you are feeling. So keep a journal in which you write about and analyze the emotional situations you experience from day to day. So score yourself. I know my strengths and weaknesses. What are you good at and what triggers you? Very good point, this one. Let's look at the third statement. I ask people for feedback on what I do well and how I can improve. I can tell you I don't often invite people to give me feedback. I do like feedback. When I get feedback, I'm pretty strong when I receive it, but I don't actively ask for it. You know, if I can avoid it, I do. It's probably not something that I love because you want to have perfect feedback. Most of us want to have good feedback. So become aware of your own ego. How sensitive are you when someone tells you you are too aggressive, or you are too blunt, or you are too soft, or you're not assertive enough? How sensitive are you to that feedback? And I want you to become aware of it. And it's okay if you don't like it. None of us actually like it. And then start entertaining it. Invite people to give you feedback. Go and entertain that thing that you are scared of and that you don't like. So if you don't like water, go swim. If you don't like to be alone, be alone. So this is how you will get better, because you are building your own resilience and you're building your own strength. So you're facing the things that you don't like as much. Anyway, let's go on to the next page. Let's look at self-regulation. So look at the following statements. Score yourself from 1 to 10. I lose my temper when I feel frustrated. So self-regulation is about staying in control. To develop your skills in this area, learn how to manage your emotions effectively. Can you see that I did not say control or suppress? I said manage. You don't have to suppress it, and you can't control things that's happening to you. And if the emotion comes up, don't try and control and suppress it, but manage it. Manage it. If you feel extreme frustration, acknowledge it and say, okay, I'm going to do deep breathing right now. I'm going to step away from the computer. What I do is, if I can feel I just use this talk to myself. If I say, oh, there goes the cortisol levels, I make a point of it to, as soon as I can, even if it's after work or as soon as I can, I literally go for a run around the block for at least 10 or 15 minutes. And what I say to myself is, get the cortisol out of the blood. The only way that you can get cortisol out of the blood, by the way, is through exercise. So even if you just jump up and down, get your lungs to breathe and get your heart racing a little bit, that helps getting the cortisol out of the blood. So if you can run around the block or take a very brisk, fast walk, it gets the cortisol out. A little tip for you, it really, really works. Okay, so score yourself there. And then the second statement, I know how to calm myself down when I feel anxious or upset. You may need to practice this a little bit more, because firstly, you need to acknowledge the emotion that you're feeling. Then only can you calm yourself down if you feel anxious or upset. So score yourself. How effective do you think you are? So if you often get angry, note what triggers this feeling and think about why this happens. Use techniques such as deep breathing to calm yourself down, and give yourself time to pause before you respond to emails or requests, so that you don't say something you'll later regret. Even if you get requests or tasks to do, but just give yourself a moment. Just prioritize, put them into sequence of priority, step back from the computer, observe, see what am I supposed to do? What do I do first? What do I do second? Don't always feel like you have to do and give an answer right now. You have time. And then I find it difficult to move on when I feel frustrated or unhappy. Here is where our egos comes in. And you can build this last thing, you can build it by practicing your resilience. So if you sometimes think you get stuck there and you feel that resentment, you don't want to let it go, you can develop it, you can build on it. You may also be affected by other negative feelings and emotions such as anxiety and stress. So do what you can do to manage these feelings effectively. Accountability is another important element of self-regulation. Take responsibility for your actions and behaviors and make sure that these align with your values. So accountability is saying, I take responsibility for the decision that we're going to make, for the outcome, whether that is you take accountability for your decision or you take accountability for a mistake that you've made. The only reason why we want to dodge that is because we feel fragile. It's our ego that tells us, oh, I'm too fragile to acknowledge that I've made a mistake. You need to become okay with the fact that you can make a mistake. You need to become okay with the fact that you've maybe upset the team or that you've caused someone else some effort or you caused them a headache. That's okay. We do that. All sorts of people do that. We've all caused effort to other people. And it's okay. And you can also learn to be forgiving if someone else has caused you some effort. Or caused you some difficulty and now you need to sort it out. It's okay. It's a give and take situation. All right, let's move on to motivation. So motivation, I find it hard to focus on something over the long term. So self-motivation is affected by your emotions. When you're distracted by your emotions, you may find it hard to see tasks through. So you may be someone who gets negative quite quickly because my goals are frustrated repeatedly. My self-talk is maybe in a way that's very negative. Therefore, it exhausts me. So therefore, I just give up. And I don't persevere and I don't commit to solving a problem or stick to my goal. This is a good one to rate yourself on. So be very honest with yourself. I find it hard to focus on something over the long term. Second statement, I feel that I don't enjoy my work. So boost your motivation levels by developing self-discipline and by looking for and celebrating small wins. Simple jobs that even when you've completed it, gives you a sense of achievement. We don't often do this. We quite focus quite a lot on the negatives, the things that didn't work. We don't often focus on the small wins. Look at what it is that you've achieved for the day and look at what you've achieved in the week, for the month, for the year, and over a period of time. Where are you now? We really tend to focus only on the failures and the mistakes. That will also eat away at your self-discipline. But self-discipline is really probably the answer to a lot of things. Determine your own self-discipline. How good and how bad is it? I'm one of those people who says that you need to make your bed in the morning. Yes, I'm one of those. I just like it. I like when there's when things are being organized and it's being prioritized and you can tick it off and say, I've achieved one thing and then the second thing. So yeah, I'm the one of those who says you must make your bed. Okay, and then I set long-term goals and I review my progress regularly. Okay, so this is the only way that you can grow. So score yourself. This cluster of questions may be a little bit more difficult to answer for you, and it may take you a while because we usually think in terms of emotional intelligence as empathy and awareness. So this may be something you need to think about. Really think about it and be honest with yourself. Look at the last point here. If you are still struggling to get motivated in your current role, take some time to rediscover your purpose. Where are you and where are you going? Let's look at empathy. Score yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. So people have told me that I'm a good listener. So empathy is the ability to recognize other people's emotions and understand their perspectives. Goleman calls this aspect of the IQ, of the EQ, the fundamental people skill. So most of us connect empathy to the EQ. So it is a very important part. Remember, this doesn't mean that you're soft. It doesn't mean that you let people get away with things. It does not mean that you condone bad behavior. It just means that you're creating an understanding from where they're coming from. That can help you solve the problem. Then second point, I find it difficult to read other people's emotions. Don't mistake this. You may think that you read people's emotions well, but maybe you're not so good at it as you think you are. So be very open with yourself here. Often we find cues from people and we ignore it. We can see someone is a little bit more quiet, or someone's face doesn't look as cheerful as it usually does, but we ignore it. Tune into those things and see what it is that other people are trying to communicate with you non-verbally. So to develop empathy, start by simply thinking about other people's viewpoints. Imagine how they may feel and use active listening skills to understand them fully and express their emotions, and when they express their emotions to you. So can you see, you are just imagining how it is that they are feeling. You're not condoning. You're not necessarily even consoling. You are just thinking about the point of view. Where are they coming from? How opposed to other people's point of view are you? Even your life partner. When they say something from a total different angle, do you cut them off quickly and describe your angle? Or are you actually open to listen and say, okay, I actually see what you mean. I still feel this and this and this way, but I see where you're coming from. All right, then I use active listening skills when people speak to me. So try not to interrupt or talk about your own feelings during conversation. This is the year-old thing that we all do. We start preparing a conversation back in our heads, how we relate to them. Oh, I've also felt like that. It's also happened to me. Can you really listen to the person when they're talking to you? Look at their body language. It can tell you a lot about their emotions. If you watch and listen to others, you quickly become attuned to how they feel. You can practice this. It's a fantastic skill to have. Imagine someone knows that when they talk to you, you really listen. You do want to become aware if there's any, you get these hangers on or clingers that when they do see a very empathic person, they unfortunately go for you and they cling. I'm not talking about that. That's not, narcissistic people love very empathic people. So you also want to have a boundary. You also want to be able to draw the line when it's necessary to do so. But it's really good if you can really be someone that someone can talk to and listen. And you do not have to take the burden on you. You are just really listening and understanding at that point. So you can understand there is a boundary there. Don't become overly empathic, because that can go into the negative again as well. Have that nice firm boundary. And then there's the perceptual positions technique, and it can give you a sharp insight into what other people may be thinking. So it's fancy words, perceptual positioning technique, very fancy. All it means that when someone talks to you, position one is your position is looking through your own eyes, how you understand it. Position two is the position of the other person looking back at you. Position three is when you're the fly on the wall and you put it a little bit more into objective perspective. So when you talk to people, actually, as a matter of fact, the first thing you want to do is keep quiet. Close your mouth and let them speak and really listen. Practice it. It's a nice thing to do. We talk so much. Really, we talk so much. Do we really hear what the other person is saying? And then let's look at social skills. This is our second last component of the EQ. So I enjoy organizing groups. So if you're not a natural people person, it is possible to develop better social skills. So remember, if you're more quiet, reserved, introverted, you do not have to become extroverted, but you can develop your own social skills. I've seen introverts communicate incredibly optimally, that you would not even think that they are introverted. Never ever think that if you're an introvert that you have to become extroverted. That's nonsense. You're a reserved person. You get your energy from being alone and maybe reading or doing something on your own. That's totally fine, and you leave it as that. That is who you are, and that is totally fine. You do want to see, how do you communicate? Do you communicate optimally? Do you communicate effectively? Do people understand at work what is expected of them? Do you offer sufficient support so that people can continue without you? The people in your family, do you communicate well? Do you have a tendency to really withdraw, which just makes it very difficult for them to understand what's going on? That doesn't mean that you become extroverted. It just means that you are optimizing your interaction with people and your communication with people. I cannot tell you how many times in my career have I heard introverts say, I need to become more extroverted. And then I think, you don't have to at all. You don't change your personality. You just want to learn how to interact and well, so that people just know what is going on, and so that you express your own feelings and emotions as well, so that you don't bottle things up. Then I avoid conflict and negotiations. Remember, this is not introversion. If you avoid conflict and negotiations, it may mean that you don't like it. So you shy away from it for whichever reason. So don't shy away from negative situations. As a matter of fact, if you're scared of it, embrace it. Go for it. Challenge yourself. Put little bits on the table. Start to learn to speak up. Learn how to deal with conflict and other difficult situations effectively. If you come from an Afrikaans background, I know some of the other cultures are similar. Not everyone is the same, but the way that we were brought up is that children are seen and not heard. Well, in my side of the family, we were not allowed to speak up. So I really had to learn how to, if I really think of something very important, I would keep it to myself. You can make such a contribution. You have to learn how to put your thoughts on the table. You don't have to talk for hours and talk a lot. But if you think of something that's very important and good to say because you know your stuff and you know what you're talking about, learn how to put it on the table. And then the last one, I struggle to build rapport with others. If you're uncomfortable with social situations, work on building self-confidence. Start slowly, but then look for opportunities to practice your skills with bigger groups. For example, you could offer to attend conferences on behalf of your team. Or like I'm doing webinars, you just get better at it. You know, you start to learn how to talk to people, how to engage. I know I can still do better. I sometimes talk too fast and I talk maybe too much without giving it a break in between. Maybe I can give people a chance to actually respond. But know the things that you can still develop. It's fine if you're not so great. You don't have to be perfect. That's also part of your emotional intelligence, is to know that it's fine if you're not so great at things. It's fine. It's fine. Take it from there, and then little bits, challenge yourself. Little bits. Was this the last one? Social skills was the last one. Sorry, I thought it was the second last one. Okay, I think it is exactly past. I'm not going to do the interview questions with you now because I actually want you to do the online test. And you can also request these notes so that you can learn how this works. So the interview questions, this is about if you are someone that interviews people, these are the type of interview questions you can ask people about their EQ to probe whether there is some insight there. And then the next steps is, what can you do right now? So I'm going to skim over it. I don't want to go into too much detail. Now, this slide is how you can get in touch with us to arrange training. Really, it is incredibly easy. So you can email training@HR Talk to get access to the portal. It costs 150 Rand a person. It's nothing. This over here is the link. So even if you can just click on the link and it's going to take you to the training portal. You can just access it. You can just go there. You don't even have to talk to us or whatever. This is your link to go there. So last week's session had the link for EQ Part 1. This is the link for EQ Part 2. Next week, I'll give you the link for EQ Part 3. Play with this. It's very nice to do it. You will get your little certificate afterwards. And then I'm going to stop sharing because I just want to see if there's any questions. Was there anyone? Yes. Okay, and then I just want to see if there were any questions. If you've got any questions, the session is finished now, but please write down any questions that you have. If there's anything you just want to check with me, but I really hope to see you next week again. Let me switch my camera on so that you can just see my face again. Switch in again. No, that's not the right English. Join us again next week, Wednesday, for Part 3. And then keep an eye out if we do any stress management courses later in the year. But we can email these notes to you and so that you can do the training. Let me also just reboot here. I want to see if there was any questions under the Q&A. There's nothing there. And okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions, but please, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Please join us. And if you've got any specific questions, let us know. All right, but have a very good Wednesday, and we will see you next week.